Hello, everybody there. This is Patrick, aka Earth Particle, and today I wanted to upload a video. I have not released one for quite a while, but I want to talk about the new Sharp by Design Mini Tempest. Here is the 2022 Mini Tempest. And this knife is, as probably many of you know, this is a front flipper. It is an amazing front flipper. Very, very well done. This one has blue dark matter fat carbon, M390 steel. Previous owner anodized a couple of these titanium screws blue, which is kind of cool. It's like something I would do. And the action on this one is heavenly. This is one of the smoothest action knives I have. There are skiff bearings in here, but the way I have to hold it in front of the camera, you can't really see the drop shut except from above, but extremely smooth. So anyway, that is the 2022 Mini Tempest, and as many of you probably know, there was just released a new version, and they did some voting at Kaviso Outdoor, and people about 50-50 said they wanted a standard flipper and a front flipper. And so Kaviso did the cool thing and actually released a bunch of different versions of both with different types of looks like fat carbon, but it's camo carbon. I actually thought it was like these new colors of fat carbon, but it turns out it's a company called Camo Carbon from the US, Lefty. I talked to him briefly in a comment on one of his videos about it, and he told me it was camo carbon. I didn't know that. So anyway, I think this is absolutely stunning. I did get the standard flipper. I didn't buy it directly from Kaviso. I found a guy on Reddit who was willing to sell it for like a $75 discount, and he said he only literally took it out of the box to flip it, maybe a dozen times. The flipping action on this one, let me put it this way. If the Mini Tempest had been released as a standard flipper first, I would not have really thought, oh, this is like a front flipper. This feels like it should really be a front flipper, but they just tried to kind of squeeze in a standard flipper tab. No, I never would have even considered that. Now the blade weight is a little bit heavier than the Mini Evo, I believe, because this is like a 3.6-inch blade, where the Mini Evo is like a 3.33, I think, something like that, 3.35. But yeah, this is actually, I think, maybe even a little bit smoother than my 2022. This guy also has skiffs. Really hasn't even broken in yet, and it's already dropping shut even better than this, which is one of my smoothest knives. So, here. Let me bring on over, I meant to grab this earlier. Let me bring on over the previous release, which is the Mini Evo, and we'll do a little size comparison. For these, you're at kind of a weird angle because the way my camera is situated. So if I get these closer, that's probably a bit better. So yeah, the Mini Tempest is a little bit longer in the handle, a little bit longer, not by much. You can't even, on camera, it's kind of hard to tell. And then the blade, you can tell, that's where the biggest difference kind of is with the blade length on these. So anyway, yeah. So there you go. There's the original Mini Tempest. There's the Mini Evo for a little bit of size comparison. These are pretty much, as far as I can tell, exactly the same in every way except for the type of flipper and other cosmetic differences. But yes, so anyway, one thing I did think was interesting is that on the previous version where they had that gold, the gold fat carbon inlay with the PVD. Oh, my focus, I went out of focus. So yeah, the PVD version of the first run of the Mini Tempest had that gold fat carbon, and I actually really wanted that one, but in that version, it had a satin clip as well as the blade. With this new version, at least with the 80s camo carbon, they decided to actually do PVD clip. I know that's probably going to get scratches on it. These clips are just notorious for getting scratches, so I'm sure this will get scratched up, but I'm not going to be the only one with a scratched up clip there, I'm sure. So I'm sure we'll live through it. But yeah, so I'm trying to think more detailed stuff I can really say. I mean, it feels exactly the same as the other Mini Tempest. This new one does. I guess the one thing would be, oh, you can't choke up as much because the flipper tab's in the way here. Oh, by the way, this is S90V steel on the new one. That is one difference there. So we've got M390 on the original. These new ones, everybody voted, including me, for S90V. So I'm really glad to actually have both blade steels. That's pretty cool. But yeah, so that's a big difference there, I guess you could say. Functionally, everything else is exactly the same. The feel, the contours, all of it. I know Kev said that he thought that the clip was maybe like not as thick on this new version, but I tell you what, I could get the calipers out, but just looking at it, it doesn't look any different to me. What do you guys think? That looks the same. I think it's just because this one's darker. It doesn't look, the outline's not quite the same, so it kind of tricks your eye, I think, a little bit. Anyway, other than the flipper tab, I mean, that's really the biggest difference here. And it would have never crossed my mind that this is a weak detent. It doesn't feel weak to me at all. I mean, I have had snappier detents, and I think the Mini Evo is a little bit snappier than this, but like, that's okay. This is just a different feel. It's a little bit heavier blade. It's absolutely not mushy at all. Like, it still snaps out fine. It's just not the snappiest detent I've ever had, but that makes it sound like it's not satisfying, but it is. It's absolutely above average quality detent. Plus, it's got the Brian Nadeau Nubby Nub system, which has a unique feel anyway. It does have that double click everybody talks about. I don't think it's as prevalent as it is on the Mini Evo. I feel like that's more of a distinct, like, this is more of a, you can hear it. It's more of like a, I don't know, just a subtle sound. It never bugged me. That one is pretty much just a single click. But anyway, none of that stuff has ever bugged me. I actually really love the acoustics, specifically with the Sharp by Design knives, the way they open and close. They have this kind of clackety clack to them that a lot of other titanium frame locks don't have. Maybe even no other titanium frame locks. I don't know if it's the shape of the titanium or what it is, but instead of having, the best way I can describe it is when they close, when it hits the detent, when it closes, instead of doing a dink like a lot of knives, it does like a chuck. That's my onomatopoeia for the day to explain the difference. But anyway, I'm super glad that all of these types of knives exist. I mean, I got a really cool configuration in the last week or two here. I got a really cool configuration of the Sangre Street, the Ramon Chavez Ultramar version made by Riot as well. It's just like these. And somebody had a really cool version where they took a lockside scale off of like the regular like blast version, and then took the black blade and hardware clip, and then they put this micarta scale from another version. I think it looks great. Anyway, the Sangre, I love blade shapes like this. They're super useful for daily use. I just look at that. That is the nastiest. That is a box opener if I ever saw one. So anyway, but yeah, the reason I bring it out is because this is a detent ball, and the Chavez knives, I noticed, like, I had to actually file this down. I had to take the blade off and file down the detent hole a little bit. It was so hard to open. It was really hurting my finger. And the reason is because the detent ball was going so deep into the blade that it took so much effort to get it up over that kind of sharp ridge to open the blade. So, take a little bit of material, make it so it's a little bit more of a ramp for that ball to slide up and over. God, it's still stiff. It's just way better than it was. But anyway, you don't get that with the Sharp by Design, because instead of a ceramic ball, it is literally just a steel shelf. If you've seen any other videos where people actually show that, I'm sure anybody who would be watching this is probably aware of how that works. But anyway, I don't know if I can show it here, but it's just a ledge. It's just a little ledge. It makes it feel different, sound different. Pretty much everything about it's different. One of the biggest reasons, if not the biggest reason, not the biggest, one of the biggest reasons why I love Brian Nadeau so much. I love his work. So, well, I have been going on for almost 10 minutes, and I don't know that I've said a whole lot, but anyway, if you either have had the original Mini Tempest or not, whether or not you've had one, if you want some really awesome like inlay materials and colors and stuff, like this would be a good way to go. The front flipper or the standard flipper are both way recommendable. Like, I mean, pick one. You know, if you like front flippers, it's about the best you're going to find. I can't think of anything better. The way it feels and just the quality and the way the action feels. Wow, that focus just doesn't want to cooperate, does it? Wow, really? Thank you. Anyway, so I know that's kind of not even centered still, but I don't know. If you're still watching me stumble over my words and try to straighten these knives, then good for you. Thank you for staying. But anyway, so in conclusion, these knives are awesome. If you can find a Sharp by Design knife, and I guess I will end by doing one small tangent that I've been spouting online in as many comments as is relevant to spread the word. But the Apex, the Sharp by Design Apex is, let me go get it. This knife is an amazing knife and an amazingly underrated knife. Since we're talking about Sharp by Design, okay, here, let me go ahead and move since we're talking about the Mini Tempest and I mentioned the Apex. So, okay, here's my Apex. Now mine's like pretty heavily modified, but here's the Sharp by Design Apex. So I took some of the Damascus inlays out of one of the special edition ones and put it on my S90V blade, my standard blade one. And then I also cut out a sharpening choil because these choils from factory are abysmal. Like if you try to sharpen, you are going to run up on that choil on you know, that piece of steel at the end. It's going to look ugly. That's why I cut a choil in here on mine. And also the other big thing is to contour the pocket clip. If you contour the clip like this knife is almost a dream in hand. It's not perfect ergonomically, but it's such an improvement. Out of the box, the ergos are like a 3 out of 10. With a contoured clip, it takes it to about 7.5 or so. So yeah, not the best ever, but way better than it is from factory. Anyway, so that's the Apex. These have been going just the standard versions, not with this, you know, this kind of customized version, weird Frankenstein version that I have. But the regular version with the aluminum inlays, I've seen them go on Knife Swap on Reddit for like $185, which these knives were $375 to $425. Well, and all the way up to $575 for the Damasteel versions, new. The fact that they sell now for under $200 a piece is almost criminal in my view for how good this is. This is also S90V. There, I just polished that up with a microfiber cloth. That Damascus is really nice. I got these kind of streaks on one side and these kind of little kind of blooms on the other side. But anyway, so the Apex, man. Apex is basically like a Void XL. It's like a production Void XL. It's got the speed hole in the center, which I know a lot of people don't like. I think the clip is probably the biggest reason of why it hasn't been popular like the other Sharp by Design knives. But anyway, I just think it's super underrated. I feel like contouring the pocket clip is like mandatory, just like putting a lynch clip on a pair of 3. It's like something you pretty much have to do, in my opinion. But once you do, that knife is absolutely a sleeper. It's so good. And I haven't handled the front flipper version, but those look awesome too. I just prefer the standard most of the time, unless, you know, in a case like the first Mini Tempest, that's the only way you could get it. So anyway, so all right, well, I'll go ahead and finish up here. So if you find an Apex for the $200 range, do yourself a favor, get it, and get some sandpaper and work on that pocket clip, and you'll be happy. So, all right, well, I'll post another video hopefully before too long here. Actually, yeah, I did want to talk about the new Varga, the new VBR 3¼ inch. I was going to bring it up in this video, but I'll do another video sometime soon here with that, and we'll talk about the new Varga. So 2 absolute home run knives released within like a week or 2 of each other, this new Mini Tempest and the new Vargas. So some really good releases here in February and end of January. So, all right, y'all. If you watched this far, thank you so much for sticking with it and just listening to me ramble. And I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye, everybody.